welcome to another Football No Filter, episode number 12. Today we're going to be specifically spending more time on the Taça de Portugal game, which was against the Sport Lisboa Benfica against Futebol Clube Porto in Coimbra. The final result was 1-2. Porto won the Taça de Portugal. So without any further delays, let me introduce you to the panel. From the Benfica side, since the game officially was Sporting Lisboa Benfica against Porto, I give the honors to Jorge. Jorge, how you doing?
What's going on? How's everything, people?
And from the Porto side, how you doing, Bruno?
Estou contente, estou feliz e estou um bocado cheio. Já são duas taças aí para beber e festejar.
Já não estavas habituado, está a saber. Agora...
Por acaso...
Já está?
Por acaso, é por acaso.
Okay. So let's start with the lineups. Jorge, go first.
All right, give me 1 second here. So lineup for Benfica, we have Blanco Dimos, André Almeida, Ruben Dias, Jardel, Tavares, Pizzi, Weigl, Gabriel, Servi, Chiquinho e Seferovic.
Okay, good. Porto. From the Porto side, Bruno, go with the lineup.
We went with Diogo Costa in goal, Wilson Manafá, Chancel Mbemba, MVP of the game, Pep, Alex Telles, Otávio, Danilo, Jesus Corona, Luis Diaz, Mateus Uribe, and then it was Marega up top.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, so Jorge, tell me how you felt about the first half, second half, about the whole game. So were you expecting this to be the outcome, or you kind of disappointed?
No, I mean, before the game, I think on last week's show, I think I predicted, quote unquote, a 1-1 tie, hoping that it would go to penalties. But I knew it was going to be a difficult game, the way that Benfica has been playing these last 2-3 months. I was disappointed a little bit with the lineup. I still don't understand some of the lineup choices that Benfica has been putting on the field. I don't understand.
Elaborate, George. What should have happened?
Well, I mean, we're just talking offline. I think how can you leave the best scorer of the league out of the starting 11 in the last game of a season? I mean, unless it's unless I'm looking at it the wrong way. But so I think Vinicius should have started. I think the kid on the left, Tavares, didn't really have a good game. Easy. I think he must still be on his way to Stadio de Coimbra, because he definitely didn't show up on Saturday. Or on Sunday, whatever the game was. Saturday it was. But first half. First of all, let me look at just give you a little bit of stats. Benfica has 63% of possession versus 37%, which is understandable with playing almost an hour with one player more than Porto. We had 12 shots on net. Porto had 6. We had shots. We had 12 shots. Porto had 6. We had 2 on net, and Porto had 4 on net. Look, I think the first half was an even half. I think you could already see that Porto was on the counterattack. I think on the counterattack they're dangerous. I think Benfica, we spoke about it a couple of shows ago also. I think that's one of the problems with Benfica when they're caught off balance. The counters is usually where we have a lot of issues, a lot of problems. But I think it was we did okay first half. Then we had the red card on Diaz, which I believe was more than a second yellow. Should have been a straight red, but I don't think there should be any complaining that the card wasn't correct, that the expulsion wasn't correct. And then in the second half, already without Sergio Conceição being on the sidelines, Benfica just didn't show any heart. didn't do anything. Porto looked like Porto was the one that was playing with 11 and Benfica with 10, which is sad for a team like ours in a final, to have that sort of performance. And then in a couple of opportunities, Mbemba, with two headers. First goal was I consider a frango on Vlaco Dimos. He saiu em falso, missed punching the ball, and it just left it to Mbemba, which he still had a lot of work to do. It was a nice header over the defense, which was it wasn't an easy goal. And then on the second goal, off of a free kick, I believe, the defense just caught the defense sleeping, and again another nice header in that play. I don't think Vlaco Dimos really had anything to do with the play. It was 1-on-1 versus the keeper, and it was a decent header. But overall, just a mirror image of what Benfica has been the last couple of months. Just no heart, just no attitude. And then you have the Vinicius goal, which was a penalty, which it was a clear penalty, but it's a little bit too late. Really, nothing you can do at that point. So I think it was a well-deserved win by Porto. Congratulations to all the Portuguese.
Okay, sounds good. That's a good assessment. I'm just going to point out a couple interesting stats. So Benfica, like George said, they had 12 shots. Porto 6 shots on target. 2 for Benfica, 4 for Porto, which means 50% of aproveitamento do Futebol com Porto. Possession 63 Benfica, 37 Porto. Passes 458 Benfica, 283 Porto. Pass accuracy 81% for Benfica, 66% for Futebol com Porto. Fouls 19 para Benfica, 18 para Porto. Yellow cards, this is an interesting stat. Yellow cards 4 for Benfica, 1 for Porto. Red cards 0 for Benfica, 1 for Porto. Offsides, interesting enough, no offsides in the entire game. And corners, 4 for Benfica, 6 for Futebol com Porto. Bruno, give me your assessment of the game.
I think that Porto came out wanting to win the game. I think they were the only team that wanted to win the game, especially in the first half when it was 11v11. Porto created a ton of chances. And again, I can probably hear Benfica saying, "Oh, what does he mean? Porto's the only one that wanted to win the game." The first shot that Benfica had on target was in the 62nd minute. Where was Benfica in the first half? Where was their attack? Where's the super attack? O rolo compulsador. Onde é que está isso, pá? Não há. Não há equipa maravilha. Não há. Não houve. O Benfica was nullified. The MVP, quote unquote, of the league, nullified. Nowhere to be found, as George said. Benfica had a very difficult time getting out of the half. This was the third time this year that Porto dominated Benfica tactically. They figured out a way how to stop them from building from the middle third to the attacking third, and Benfica had struggled heavily. Benfica also struggled heavily with Porto's pressure. The only thing that the one complaint that I have about this game is I just didn't understand the substitutions from Sergio Conceição. But I think overall, first and second half, first half Porto knew how to attack. They probably deserved to get a goal in the first half. It just didn't happen. They created some half chances. Odysseus made a good save in the opening 4th minute. But other than that, Porto was just, you could definitely tell that they were better going forward than Benfica. Benfica was non-existent. Second half, after the red card, or double yellow, however you want to call it, Porto started to defend more. And even with defending more, we were better. We were better on 50-50 challenges. We won a lot of the 50-50 balls. Benfica couldn't do it. The one guy that I didn't understand why he came out, Otavio. Otavio was our best player in terms of pressing. I don't understand why he took him out. When he took him out, that's when I was like, wow, how are you going to support Alex Telles defensively? The guy that came in for him, which was Diogo Leite. I just didn't understand. I wouldn't have done that because Benfica wasn't creating. Benfica started creating when you put Diogo Leite in. When you took Otavio out, the pressure in the midfield wasn't there anymore. Benfica started circulating the ball side to side, but they weren't doing anything. If the tactic was, well, let Benfica cross balls into the box, we'll take our chances with Pep, we'll take our chances with Mbemba and Leite, then it resulted. I didn't understand why Uribe didn't come out a lot sooner. I didn't understand why Sergio Oliveira didn't come in sooner. I didn't understand and why so late. And you left the game with two subs to make. I don't think they needed to suffer. I don't know why Marega played. At 55 minutes, I saw him holding his knees. He was tired. In terms of the goals, I said it last week on the predictions. Watch out for the bolas paradas. And exactly, I was right. 2 goals. Same from Mbemba. Mbemba clearly was the man of the match. I do have to say Pep had an extraordinary game. Even at 38, he still looked great. Mbemba, fantastic. The guy that was probably the worst player on the field was Manafá. You could tell that he doesn't belong in these type of games. Otavio played a great game. Corona played a very good game. Marega played a good game. I didn't agree with dropping him 20 more yards to take away that pass through the middle, because then you left nobody up top. I would have put probably someone else, maybe Abubakar, maybe Suarez, maybe someone with fresher legs to press Benfica, because then you're giving the center backs opportunity to move up the field with the ball. I think all in all, it was a justified win. We were the better team. Doesn't matter with 11, doesn't matter with 10, doesn't matter with COVID-19, sem COVID-19, Lisboa, Porto, doesn't matter. We were the better team this year. And 3 wins, you cannot contest them.
Okay, well said. So let's bring up some cases of the game. First case came up on the Luis Diaz yellow card at the 9th minute. Bruno, was that a yellow card or no?
No. He kicks the ball first. After that, did he not kick the ball first, George?
The 9th.
Doesn't matter if he kicks the ball first.
His foot is there. He slides, he kicks the ball. It's not his fault that Chiquinho runs into him. No. First of all, he touches him with his knee. With his knee. It wasn't with his foot. It was with his knee. He kicked the ball, and the ball's gone. There's already another player already passed the ball before that foul even happened. That's no way is a yellow card. I heard Duarte Gomes today talk about it. He said that was not a yellow card. He said it wasn't even a foul. Wasn't even a foul, and that's Duarte Gomes.
Okay, so we agreed that that yellow card is questionable, at least.
What? That's taking it to the extreme questionable.
Okay. So now I'm gonna go to George. George, on the Ruben Diaz yellow card on the 12th minute, was that a good yellow card?
Well, on the side, yes, it was a yellow card. Yeah, I think it was a yellow card.
Okay. Now this is the play that everyone wants to talk about, and I'll put my 2 cents on this, and I'll go back to Bruno and George at the same time. But I'll let Bruno take the lead on this one. The red card on Luis Diaz, which was created by a second yellow and then a red card. To me, that was a straight red card, because what he did to a player, a professional player that they both play professional soccer and that's their living. You shouldn't have never done that. I'm not saying it was purposely done, but that was very aggressive, and you could see Andre Almeida marque deixou na canela.
Exactly.
So, Bruno, what do you think? Should that be a red card, or a yellow card was the proper call?
I can accept being a direct red. I can accept it, but there was no intention because he
Okay.
never saw him coming. He
Okay.
never saw him coming. He came from behind, came by surprise, and he stuck his foot out. I mean, he caught him with his leg. But I do want to say, before there's other guys that are on our Facebook page that start talking and chirping. Look at the same referee. Look at that criteria that he used a couple of games with Tornações and Purifora, where there was no red card. So, same type of play. No red card was given.
Okay, this one was not given a red card too. It was a yellow card.
Understood, but I'm just saying.
Thank you.
I don't want to say it was a direct red, e não sei quem, não sei que mais, and
Também não foi. Mas também não foi.
E perdoou outro vermelho.
O Ruben Dias e o Jardel, yes, I agree.
Não, o que tu disseste que foi o melhor jogador não, disseste que foi o melhor jogador tirando o Mbemba, foi o Otávio. For what?
Getting hacked 101 times?
No, for yapping away at the referee, like the referee let it talk.
Actually, that I understand what George is saying, but I carefully was watching what he was saying. Otávio, I don't think he cursed once. He was hyper. He was complaining, and but I don't think he cursed.
No, he asked him that was a foul. Foi falta.
Because I don't think he cursed. I don't think he showed any respect towards the fourth referee. I don't know what's so wrong about being hyper.
Quem é o árbitro? Quem é o quarto árbitro? Quem foi?
Mota.
O Manuel do Talho.
No, but oh, Bruno, what I'm saying is, you know me, I have a high temper as well. Sometimes when you question somebody with a high temper, but you keep your composure and you don't curse at anybody and you're still respectful, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, it's the heat of the game. Now, they were pissed off. Because if people remember, they were pissed off that Manafá got fouled by Gabriel. A slide tackle from behind. No yellow card was given. I'll say it one more time for people to hear very well. No yellow card was given. Okay? There was an advantage given, but after the play was dead, or it should have came back, and the referee should have issued the yellow card to Gabriel. He didn't give it the yellow card. Then he called a foul on Otávio that there was no foul. He got the ball. And right away, and Manuel Mota was the one that told, because he heard Manuel Mota telling Artur Soares Dias that was a foul, and he called the foul. Manuel Mota called the foul. It wasn't Artur Soares Dias. It was Manuel Mota.
But that's why he's there too. As a fourth referee, they can make those calls as well.
He could make the calls, but he makes the right calls, not the wrong calls.
Well, he didn't make the right call on this one.
He made a lot of bad calls. No,
so the PK, Bruno, was it a PK or no?
Claro.
Okay.
No, he has his hand out.
So, Jordan, PK?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Overall, good win by Porto. We all agree on that. I agree with that too. I think Porto was the better team, and especially in bolas paradas. Everybody knows they're very deadly.
And Benfica's very weak.
And then Benfica's sector, in my eyes, the weakest one this season was the defense.
But I'm saying what I'm saying, Steph, is Porto's very strong on set pieces, and Benfica's very weak on set pieces defensively.
Mas mesmo assim foi a segunda equipa menos batida em Portugal.
Pronto, we're talking about bolas paradas.
Não, está bem, mas o Benfica, o setor que este ano lixou o Benfica, tanto no Campeonato Nacional como na final da Taça de Portugal, no meu ver, como sportinguista que sou neutro, foi a defesa. Porque o meio-campo e o setor ofensivo nem teve muito mal. O top 2 da Liga Portuguesa foi Vinícius e Pizzi. O Benfica marcou quantos gols? 60 e tal gols, acho eu, não é? So I guess Jorge Jesus will have to work on the defense. Now, moving on. So let's any alibis.
The one thing I want to say about this, a pouca vergonha do estádio que foi escolhido.
Concordo. O campo era uma merda. O campo...
You know, I do want to say that the field was horrible. I don't understand how the Federation allowed such a game to be played. at Coimbra. I mean, they had a couple of days to go there, check it out, observe, analyze. You know what? This is not working out. Let's move it somewhere else. I mean, you don't have to reissue tickets to fans. You don't have fans coming from one place to another. You don't have hotels. You don't have this, that, the other. All they had to do was say, hey, look, we're going to be playing in Aveiro, or we're going to be playing in Leiria or somewhere else, because it could have been an easy fix. It was terrible. I also will say that it was horrible what the police did in the city of Porto, where they disallowed the fans after all this time, always allowing the fans to go and cheer on the team. They were not allowed to cheer on the team. They also allowed Benfica fans to cheer on their team or welcome the team in Coimbra, which was different. And then they didn't allow them to celebrate after. O Salazar está a voltar.
Então, mas como assim? Acabaste de dizer uma coisa que não estou a entender. They allowed Benfica to celebrate later? Celebrar o quê, caralho?
Welcome
the team.
Tu disseste welcome and celebrar.
Celebrar after. O Porto, o polícia do Porto não deixou os adeptos do Porto celebrar. Não deixaram.
Na downtown Porto.
Avenida dos Aliados.
Okay, well,
and I think that was wrong, because if people are going to do the social distancing and they're doing it correctly, I don't see what the problem is. But you could tell that this was they conditioned Porto. But you know what? That's a good sign, because when the police and the government and all these entities, the federation, everything continue to do this, it only fuels us more. And then if you see why we hate so much Lisbon and the government and all this stuff, it's for stuff like this. So that's where people
but this had nothing to do with Lisbon. This had to do with Porto.
No, because we all know.
Foi a PSP para Porto.
No, but Steph. Even a more important thing. It's the same Porto that the Presidente da Câmara is a VP of Porto.
Pois, ele é que mandou, meu.
Mas é a culpa do Benfica. A culpa é do Benfica.
A culpa, não, ele disse Lisboa, ele até não disse Benfica.
Uma coisa.
Não é a mesma coisa, que Lisboa há mais clubes. Mas resumindo e concluindo, Porto, listen, Bruno, not everything is molded to Benfica and Benfica's fault. On this one, qual é o presidente da Câmara de Porto?
Moreira.
Rui Moreira.
É portista, não é?
É.
Pronto, já está.
Mas ele não manda na polícia.
Não manda. É como o maior de uma cidade aqui na América. Claro que manda. He controls the budget for them. Same as here.
He controls the budget, but it came from somebody else, the order.
You think so? But the thing... Okay, so they could have celebrated instead, em vez dos aliados, podiam ter ido nos arredores do Dragão. I don't know. But anyway, I agree with you do estádio de Coimbra, uma desgraça total. I had finished watching
Horrible.
Arsenal-Chelsea. What an awesome game, full of excitement, high-speed game. The pitch was perfect. And then I was watching o Benfica-Porto e eu assim, que merda de campo é aquele? Tudo malhado. Epá, passou uma imagem tão pobre de Portugal.
Yeah.
E quando a gente tem estádios bonitos, pá, lindos, com relevados impecáveis. Mas porquê que escolheram aquela merda? Não estou a fazer pouco do estádio de Coimbra nem da cidade de Coimbra. Atenção, estou a fazer pouco do relevado em si. Não se faz isso.
We got to understand something. You have... the one thing I don't understand about Taça de Portugal, it has to be no Jamor. É o Jamor. O Jamor já não tem condições.
E agora mudaram uma vez.
How is Jamor empty? Não tem condições. But when they can receive public, tem condições. Alguma vez, mas isso cabe na cabeça de alguém. They have a football, Federação Portuguesa de Futebol, the new campus that they got. They have like 11 fields. One of those fields was better than the one that they played on in Coimbra.
Agreed.
That's what I was looking at now.
Yeah.
I was looking at now to see what city was on.
I mean, come on. Really, George, I mean, is this, are we going crazy here or what?
Dude, I went to a friend of mine to watch the game, and right before the game, the first, I say 15-20 minutes before the game, there's a drone goes over the field and the stadium. I'm like, what the hell? Is this like before the construction to the Euro 2004? And then, because I saw the surroundings of the field all in dirt and stuff. I'm like, what the hell is this?
The track doesn't
Like,
even
what the?
You know these games.
No.
You have millions of people watching this game.
Claro.
Even from other countries. And a Federação e Liga Portuguesa passaram uma imagem tão pobre de Portugal, unbelievable. They could have played in Guimarães, no Braga,
anywhere.
Better stadiums, even no Porto, que o estádio está vazio, não afetava em nada o Benfica, que é sempre no Sul, não fazia mal nenhum, podiam jogar no Bessa, em tantos sítios bonitos, e foram escolher um com um relvado, parecia que tinham comprado pedaços no Home Depot e no Lowe's.
Unbelievable. It was really bad. It really was bad. But that's the federation that we have now.
Yeah, that problem.
And the you know, and unfortunately they don't think outside the box. That's how they, and there's nothing we can do.
No, they should have a model similar to the United States, which is basically it should be a bidding system like the Super Bowl. A Taça da Liga, thank goodness, it won't be at Braga. I mean, 2 years in a row. I don't know why. You know, three in the pure. So 3 years in a row in Braga. Why? I have no clue why. So finally, they're going to move the competition, the Final Four, to another city, and that makes sense to me. Why not promote another city in Portugal and give them a chance to gain some revenue and fans and make it fun? So that's good. E a Taça de Portugal devia ser da mesma maneira. I don't know why a Taça de Portugal não pode ser na Madeira.
Actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, because Madeira was actually one of the cities, or Funchal was one of the cities that wanted the final de Taça de Portugal there. And I'll tell you again.
Estádio vazio.
Claro.
Está bem, e vão dar no ano que o estádio está vazio.
No, mas Steph, the field was better. I'm just talking about field.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about some other interesting stuff. Before we move on, who was the MVP of the game for you, Bruno?
November was the MVP.
Yeah, no doubt. And George, for you?
Same thing.
Okay. And for Benfica side, anyone that you said, okay, he was outstanding, the best player on the pitch for Benfica?
Artur Soares Dias.
Not really.
No.
Not really.
Okay, so we're going to move on, and we're going to go back a little bit into statistics with the Liga Nos. The MVP was given to Pizzi because he indeed had an outstanding season. He finished with 18 goals. Let's remind our listeners that Pizzi, he plays midfield. He's not a striker. 18 goals for a midfielder, that's a lot. And also 31. He had
31 in all competitions, 19 assists.
Yeah, but the Liga Nos only counts the ones for the Liga Nos. So 18 goals and 20 assists in Liga Nos. And congratulations to Pizzi for winning the MVP. But Bruno has another opinion. What's your opinion?
I believe, and again, I'm not going by statistics, because you did say statistically he was the better player. And that, you know, statistics is one thing. I'm looking at games played, performances, ratings. Corona, I think, was the best player this year. And trust me, I've been a very big critic of Corona in the past. But I do have to say that he had a very, very good season this year. He was our most consistent player, both at right back and at winger. And I think that I'm talking about MVP, who most valuable player, not best goal scorer, not leading assist man, most valuable player, the guy that your team depends the most on. I think Corona was number one.
Okay. Sounds good to me. The top scorer of Liga Nos was Vinicius with 19 goals. Congratulations to him. Interesting race. Would you guys say so? Until the end.
It was good.
Yeah.
You know, and we have to also mention Paulinho from
Paulinho.
Braga. He had a good season. You can probably say this was his coming out party, to the point that there's a potential $30 million sale going to Wolverhampton in England.
Got it. And which having a Portuguese coach helps a lot.
So there's two.
And judgment.
Paulinho and Paulinho are going to Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
Right.
Paulinho looks like he's going for sure. What about Tarami?
Taremi of Rio Ave had a good season, but he wasn't as influential.
Well, he plays for Rio Ave. Completely different, right? Different wingers to serve him. But he had how many goals? 18 as well.
He had a good amount of goals, but a lot of those goals, I mean, some of them were on penalties. But again, do I think that he was the most consistent player for Rio Ave? No. There was other players that picked up the slack when he was down. When he was down in form, there was other guys.
Do you think if he goes to Porto, because it looks like Porto is winning the race on this one between him, Tarami, and Nuno Santos? That's what they said today on the newspapers. I don't believe the newspapers, but that's what they said. So if Tarami goes to Porto, do you think he'll have a good season with different wingers, with different people serving him and all that stuff?
I don't think he's a big three striker.
So you think it's going to be like Paulinho Cascavel quando foi para o Guimarães para o Sporting?
Pode ser. I mean, he could be a decent player. He could be a bench player. He could be a very good backup. But as a starter, I don't see it. It's like, for example, Diego Souza. Diego Souza was good at Braga. You put him on Benfica, the pressure's different. He's not the same player. I think that if Paulinho went to Sporting or Benfica or Porto, I think it would have been the same thing. I mean,
look at the other kid from that's playing for Sporting. Now the kid that came from Passos Ferreira, Felipe.
It took him. Well, he got injured now. I mean, he had an ACL there, so you can't really do much. But I mean, yeah, I see your correlation.
Yeah, it's a good point. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into something completely different. A dança dos treinadores. So. Parece o bailinho da Madeira. Yeah. What do you guys think? So from the Benfica side, I think that's the biggest name. Even though I'm a huge critic of how Jorge Jesus came back, at the same time, I do recognize he's a good coach. And having such a good coach, actually, it'll be a more exciting league. He brings a lot of experience. He's expecting a better team, which Luis Vieira looks like it's going to give him a better team. So, with that said, George, you must be totally excited about Jorge Jesus. Am I right?
No, I'm excited about Benfica and the potential that Benfica, because when Jorge Jesus goes to a team, it just doesn't. It's not just Jorge Jesus, right? He's got a lot of expectations. I saw his presentation today, and his speech was an awesome speech. Trying to motivate all the Benfiquistas and unite them and so on. And not only I'm not excited about Jorge Jesus just because he's coaching the team. I know that if Jorge Jesus is in Benfica, he's going to request top players, and he's going to want the estrutura and particularly Luis Felipe Vieira to do things a certain way that everybody knows that I'm not Luis Felipe Vieira's biggest fan at the moment. So I'm excited about that. That finally there's going to be a guy that understands about soccer, and it's not going to be vendedor de pneus que vai estar a contratar jogadores. It's somebody that understands soccer.
Good. And Bruno, how do you feel about George coming back to our league? Is it a good thing or bad thing, or you don't care?
And I mean, personally, I think it's good for media attention. I think I want to get George's opinion. Today they wasted 21,000 euros on that presentation.
Olha, Jorge, olha. Peraí, I'm sorry.
Benfica, that's what I'm talking about. That's right.
So they spent 21,000 euros today on the presentation. What'd you think about that?
What the hell is 21,000 euros? That's a breakfast.
21,000 euros is a lot of money.
mean, anything is going to cost 21,000 euros. I mean, I didn't see anything special. What was it? O transporte dos 10 troféus do museu para o Seixal? What was it? I didn't see anything special.
Well, first of all, we do have to talk about the trophies that were presented, because I don't ever. I'm sorry, I just don't understand. And I heard a Benfica today talk about it in O Dia Seguinte, complaining, like he was like, this is an embarrassment for our club that you put the pamphlet of a final that you lost as one of the trophies. And then I had a discussion with one of our listeners, Luis Teixeira, that you would present his achievements. Listen, one thing you never do is put a coach's final loss on his resume. Foda-se. Puta que pariu.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't think it's something that you bring to a presentation, but it's still an achievement, especially the way you got there and the teams that you beat to get there.
No, but I mean, you don't put that next to your trophies, though.
No, absolutely not. Say, é estrutura amadora.
É mesquinho.
Ó, Jorge, eu só tenho um pedido. Nunca cabe, meu. Nunca cabe. É uma comédia do caraças, um circo, pá.
Vocês também já ajudaram para a comédia de Portugal muitas vezes também.
Mas for a presentation of a coach with pamphlets, está calado, isso é uma nova.
Não, isso é... Olha, o Jorge concordou contigo. É madurismo.
Ele falou e bem.
He falou e bem. And I agree with him too. I mean, that was... I was like, wow. You know, I was expecting more from Benfica structure, that you don't do something like that, because it makes Benfica look kind of very small. But
Steph, hold on, Steph. I have a question for you, though.
Okay, bye. Follow.
Did you hear his speech?
De quem?
Do Jorge Jesus.
Não, eu não perco o meu tempo com isso.
Okay, and then I have to ask George. George, did he mention anything about was he asked? Did he talk about what he said when he was at Sporting, when he moved to Sporting? Que eu sei muita coisa. No.
They started. They started trying to get there, and
he shut it down.
He said he shut it down. He said, eu tenho muita paixão, tenho muito amor, e eu, quando estou numa equipa, eu morro por essa equipa a defendê-la. And his way of saying that, he was at Sporting, he was defending Sporting colors, and he would say whatever he needs to say or do to protect the club, which,
fair enough.
Hey, listen, it is what it is. I mean, o Jorge Jesus já disse que era sportinguista, benfiquista, sportinguista, agora benfiquista outra vez. Ele cantava o hino de Sporting. I mean, there's a lot of videos.
I don't agree with that at all. He never said that. He
did. He did several times. E ele a cantar o hino de Sporting, cantava com uma paixão do caralho. O que eu quero dizer com isso é que os treinadores de hoje em dia, eles estão interessados no ordenado e no bem-estar deles e mais nada.
He said it today again in a big presentation where obviously he had the spotlight. He said it again today. He said, eu não sou treinador de um clube de futebol. Eu sou treinador de futebol. Eu não sou treinador de um clube.
Eu não estou a falar na parte do lado do treinador a nível profissional. E já sabemos que ele é que eu também, se eu fosse para o Porto, um gajo tinha que entender. Não é isso que eu estou a falar. Ele disse, como o Simão Sabrosa, ele não disse que era sportinguista e depois mandou para o Benfica. O Jorge Jesus fez o mesmo, mas faz isso com frequência. But anyway...
Eu nunca ouvi dizer que ela é sportinguista.
Então há de ver da maneira como ele cantava o hino de Sporting.
Mas tu viste ele a cantar o do Benfica, tu viste ele a cantar agora o do Flamengo.
Eu se eu fosse treinador do Benfica, se a minha vida profissional fosse treinador, eu nunca iria dizer que nunca ia treinar Benfica nem Porto, porque não há esse luxo. Whatever you can take, you gotta take it.
E eu nunca disse isso também.
Mas eu digo-te uma coisa, eu nunca na vida iria cantar o hino do Benfica. Ia respeitar o clube, dar tudo pelo clube, mas cá dentro eu sabia que ia ser sportinguista, eu não ia estar ali fingido. Eu não gosto de pessoas fingidas. Eu respeito muito o Rui Costa e o Bernardo Silva, porque eles sempre disseram, eu pelo Sport nunca vou jogar. Porque eles sabem que ser benfiquista é uma coisa e jogar num clube que é rival é outra coisa. E eu respeito, assim, jogadores com esse calibre. O Bernardo Silva disse há pouco tempo, eu pelo Sporting numa entrevista qualquer. Eu respeito.
Isto de cantar hinos a mim, eu não diz nada. Estás a defender.
Não,
olha,
também não me diz nada, mas é para tu veres a pessoa falsa que ele é. Mas agora.
Eu digo uma coisa,
ele é falso.
O Pepe, não é? O Bruno estava a falar do Pepe. Tu quando se fores a ver jogos da seleção de Portugal, por falar em cantar hinos, a pessoa que canta o hino com mais, I don't know, não sei explicar, ele canta com uma paixão desgraçada e ele, obviously, ele não é português.
Não,
ele é brasileiro, isso cantar é as cores que ele está a defender e canta o hino português porque cantou em português.
He's been living in Portugal since he was 18, though.
E foi Portugal que lhe deu reconhecimento mundial, internacional, não é? Let's turn the page and let's talk about Sérgio Conceição. Renovou pelo Porto. Good news or bad news?
Não renovou ainda.
Está prestes.
I keep on saying it. I don't think he's coming back. I'm just saying it. I don't think he's coming back. He has 1 year left on his contract, so there's no rush to re-sign him, but I don't think he's coming back this season unless he gets a guarantee of at least 4 good players. Top players. Top.
I agree with that. I wouldn't stay either if I was Sérgio Conceição with that team. Half of your team, you're about to lose it. I agree with that assessment.
E com o Ferrari vermelho agora.
So listen, if Sérgio Conceição stays at Porto and we have Jorge Jesus no Benfica, Ruben Amorim no Sporting, and I cannot forget to mention Carvalhal no Braga, we're looking into a very interesting league, depending on the weapons that each of our clubs gives them. With the weapons meaning good players or not.
Players signing but also players losing because we're going to lose a lot of players.
Claro. So it could be an interesting 2020-2021 season.
Look out for Braga.
Yeah, look out for Braga.
I'd see this is where I disagree because your top goal scorer is going to be out. You're going to sell your top goal scorer, Paulinho. You don't have another substitute that's as good as him on the team. So I don't think that he's going to be there. They could have good midfield play, but if you don't have a guy that can finish, it's not going to work out.
They got like 3 or 4 Avançados already that they signed this last week.
No, but then none of them are as good as him. None.
But remember, these teams are gonna. Well, I don't think they can do it anymore, right? The loans you're not able to loan out to the first division teams, right?
No, you can loan. Yeah, you can loan in, but you can only loan 3 players. So Porto could only loan 3 players. Braga could only loan 3 players. But you can loan in, like you can borrow as many players as you want from other leagues.
Claro.
So let's say, for example,
I'm saying domestically. Didn't they change? Didn't they change the laws?
Yeah,
you can only loan out 3 players.
You
to first division teams.
Yeah. So Porto can only loan out 3 players. Let's say they have 3 young guys that they want to get more experience. They can only loan 3 of those guys out. That's it. Nobody else.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's another possibility for Braga to get an okay forward from one of the big 3. Once the preseasons are done.
Well, let's not forget that this is just the beginning of the open window. So we still have a few months to buy and sell players. So
and I saw the market market is open until October 5th.
They extended the market. Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if Braga gets Diego Souza back.
Who knows? It could be a possibility. I've heard Hulk wants to come back to Porto.
which
No,
would
I
be
heard,
better than any of those strikers that we have now.
Yeah.
I heard that I heard that that's impossible.
I don't think it's possible too. It's a lot of money unless he's
I
willing to
heard,
lose
I
money.
heard, I heard
Well,
that I heard that Porto is back in the business of taking back players that
Impressed him.
screw them with Vaseline. I heard Brahimi wants to come back.
no, he might want to come back because he's not happy being in Qatar, but he's not going to come back. I can assure you that he's not going to come back.
Like Marcano?
Hulk is a guy that I think. Well, we don't need him. We don't need Brahimi. Hulk is a guy that we do need, and he already mentioned he made it public that salary is not an issue for him.
Okay.
He's been making 23 million euros a year in China for the last couple of years. He says money is not an issue. He's more worried about now finishing his career at Porto because he has things going on in the city of Porto and he wants to come back to Portugal to live. So
I heard his impresario say that that's impossible for him to come back over there as a free player and a free transfer.
We shall see.
we shall see. I mean, he can
Yeah.
only come in January anyway.
Yeah, we shall see.
How old is he anyway? 41, 42?
34.
41, pô. Eu pensava que era o Prodom do Benfica, cara. 41.
Him at 34 and at his in his shape and in his form is better than some of the guys that we currently have.
He's good enough for the Portuguese league. Yeah.
So I think him would be great.
Yeah, I mean, for the Premier League, nem toca na xixa. But the Portuguese league is good enough. Okay, so now let's jump to the last topic of the day. We have 46 minutes in, so we have 14 minutes to wrap it up. Taça da Liga. They changed the format, so I'm going to go with George on this one. So apparently the format is the top 4 teams of the Portuguese Premier League, Liga Nos, and the 4 top teams of the Segunda League, the second league of Portuguese second league. So George, how do you feel about that?
I like it. I mean, I think it's too many games. Throughout the calendar year, it's too many games. Look, it's a double-edged sword, right? So it's an extra competition. It gives the teams an opportunity to put on the field players that otherwise wouldn't play in the Taça de Portugal or the Campeonato. But in the other hand, it's a lot of games. It's a lot of games, and and the way the format is, you got to play all these games, and then the end of it, it's usually in December or January or whatever it is in December. The mini whatever they do now in Braga for the last 3 years or whatever it was. So I mean, I like that they're making it a shorter competition. But I also understand that some people might look at it and say you're taking away from putting players on the field that otherwise won't have a chance throughout the year. But for me, I'd rather see games that are meaningful than a whole bunch of games that are not meaningful. And I think with the group phases and all that stuff, it's a lot of not meaningful games. I don't think, and it got to a point where it was like, oh, whatever. If is playing blah 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 team, and I wouldn't even watch it, to be honest with you. So when you're talking about an 8-team tournament, it makes it a little bit more interesting, and every game is really mata-mata, which brings a little bit more of a excitement to the competition.
And Bruno, what's your take on it?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I've always said it that if they want to make this Taça da Liga something important, you have to add a couple of things. Number one, I don't mind the group stage. I don't mind it, but I believe that they have to eliminate the pre-group stage and then the knockout phase, and then you got to go into the group stage and then a semifinal and final. I don't like that. What I think that they need to do is, if they want to make it relevant, this is what they have to do. When it gets to around the holiday season, they have to shut out the league. They have to shut off the cup. They have to just focus on all the games of the Taça Liga. Then every club is playing for Taça Liga for that period of time. You take every team from the first and second division, you put a bunch of groups together, and you play one home, and then you play 3 games for the group stage, and then you advance to knockout all the way through until the cup final. That's it. That's how you got to do it. You got to, if you want to give it where you, because people are not going to get turned off for a month. So if you have for 3 weeks to a month of just these games, that's the Liga games, people are going to start tuning in. And then the last thing is the champion must go to UEFA automatically.
The winner of the Taça
has to go. Has to go.
So the new format will be 4-4, and how's the parella, the combination?
So first of all, the first division teams play at home. The last time I checked, they said that the Taça Liga, the big clubs or the first division clubs would be always playing away to help out with the recetas for someone else. Now you're changing it to home. It's this flip flopping. It just sucks. I don't agree with it.
So Porto will play against who?
It depends. No, it depends on first place.
Against fourth place.
Primera Liga plays against fourth place.
And then the second against
third. And so on and so forth.
Like NBA NHL seeding, normal
right?
Seeding.
It's a seeding, but the seedings are all according to when the league stops in December or whatever it is.
Okay.
So what standings are in December, that's the cutoff point, and
that's important to know, because I didn't know.
So it's current year. It's not the past year.
Yeah. No.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense like that.
That makes no sense. Yeah.
It's basically you're trying to play, I'm trying to get to this position to try to go to the Taça Liga round of that round, the quarterfinals.
And is it 2 games, 1 home, 1 away, or just 1 game?
1 game, and the Primera Liga team plays at home.
So, but basically, oitavos finais right away.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but oitavos finais, and then they're gonna do the semifinal and the final, and the final 4. They're gonna do it someplace else. I think it's between Algarve, Leiria, and I think Madeira.
Three bidders, 3 bidders, which is a good thing. That's the way it should be. I like that. It gives. If they announce, say, it's going to be at Estado Farense, Portimonense, and they announce a year in advance, it gives time for that city to sponsor and all that stuff.
Yeah, to be a candidate. Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Exactly, because us from the United States, se o Sporting, por exemplo, chega à final contra o Porto ou Benfica ou vice-versa, we might plan and go and say, hey, why not? I'll go on vacation and I'll go and watch the game. Never know. Ou francês, espanhóis, luxemburguês, da Suíça, whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, you always get a big turnout from foreign people.
Yeah, exactly.
Immigrants.
When you let us know in advance.
Not 2 weeks before. Now, if you notice the league, how they're scheduling games, they're giving you month-to-month basis, because the immigrants were all complaining like, yo, I want to plan and I can't because you only announced the game 2 weeks before. So now they're doing it month by month. But I think that's still not good enough.
What do you mean month by month?
So, for example, you're in the month of August.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you what the schedule is in September. So, you'll have the entire the game schedule in September all figured out in August. So you can plan ahead.
But usually they have the entire season.
No, because remember they used to change them. They used to change it depending on UEFA and all that other stuff. So they would change it.
Yeah, you got a point, because the tickets from France to Portugal, airplane tickets, they're kind of cheap. They're not expensive at all.
60 euros you can get anywhere in Europe from Portugal.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Even by train, they did the TGV, the Trois Grande Vitesse. It's very comfortable from what I understand, and it's really fast as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options that they have. The options are endless.
Yeah.
So,
anything else you guys want to talk about, or?
yeah, George, you got to bring in your friend Lewis here. We have to debate this whole thing because we're having this whole debate on the Facebook page. You got to put him on because the listeners have to listen to this debate because
What's the
this
debate?
guy, the debate is he's saying that when Porto won the Champions League, that was the worst Champions League ever. Well, I'm sorry. Let's see. Monaco defeated the Galacticos. So I guess Roberto Carlos, Figo, Ronaldo, Zidane. I guess they were terrible players. They beat them twice, by the way. Twice. They beat billionaire Chelsea. So that was the year that Chelsea threw a boatload of money in the market, bought all these players, and they beat them. And they got to the final. Porto got Deportivo in the semifinal. Bro, that's not Porto's fault that Deportivo beat Rui Costa's Milan after being down 3-0 in the first game, and they beat them 4-1 and they advanced.
Who was that? Who was that referee from the Desportivo da Coruña game in Estádio de Jantos?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't know the one that Deck went like this and he got red carded?
No, it wasn't like that. It was on his back.
Oh, okay.
And it was Jorge Andrade.
Yeah, no, I know it was Jorge Andrade. How come you don't talk bad about that referee?
Oh, listen, was the red card...
Não te engajas. Estás a engasgar porquê, pá? Não é preciso te engasgar.
Was the red card in excess? Yes, the red card was in excess, but that doesn't mean that Porto wasn't the better team between them and Deportivo.
What was the score in both ends?
It was 1-0 total.
When was the goal? When was the 1-0 game?
In Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Agora vais dizer a mim que não foi penalty.
Okay, so listen, o convite está feito. Qual é o número do fan? What's his name?
Luís Teixeira.
Quem?
Luís Teixeira. O teu irmão, pá.
O meu irmão, caraca, se fosse meu irmão, se tinha juiz, era sportinguista. Mas não, estou a brincar porque Teixeiras há muitos. O Richie Teixeira é portista, por exemplo. Yeah, estou a brincar. So, o convite está feito para o Luís Teixeira. Um dia desses ele vem cá ter com a gente, and then we'll do a podcast about the World Champions League. O que interessa é ganhá-las e
Não é chegar e depois apresentar um treinador with a pamphlet on the podium saying, "Oh no, you got to celebrate his achievements." That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever.
Mas o pamphlet era bonito, atenção. Tinha cores.
It had the cup on the pamphlet.
Pois.
But the problem is, Lewis, is this: you pay €12, you go to the Museu do Porto, and you can see it live. It's right there. It's the only museum in Portugal you can see a couple of cups. É o Mundial de Clubes, é a UEFA, é a Champions League. Not Champions League lá do tempo da pedra de futebol, lá dos anos 60, but only 8 teams.
Nós também temos
32.
Nós também temos a Taça Latina.
Que é que isso vale, caralho, pá?
A Taça Latina. Oh, meu, vocês comem com essa conversa. Até me apetece ir ali
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I know it's a joke, but a lot of Benfiquistas it's not. They really think it's an international trophy. E a taça da Guadiana? Tem 5. Oh, pá, é para apanhar juízo, meu. E agora a taça da Federação de Lisboa? Também conta?
Não, chama-se Taça da Honra.
E a taça de Eusébio?
Eusébio Copos. Também podem ter lá.
Steph, essa do Eusébio saiu-te muito mal essa.
Então porquê?
Esqueceste depois, um ano ou dois depois disso, veio a taça dos 5 violinos.
Mas a gente nunca deu importância a isso. Eu não estou a celebrar taças dos 5 violinos. Até a última foi ganha por quem? Por a Fiorentina. But anyway, so guys, and to our listeners, we're going to take a little break from our podcast. We'll be back a week before the season. Or we might do a special podcast when we see if there's any good signings, and then we'll we got some
Champions League starting this week.
Yeah, so we'll be in touch. Me, George, and Bruno will be in touch, and we might do a special podcast in the middle of the summer. But I'm going away on vacation, and and
Steph,
Bruno.
real quick, because I did put it on our page. We have to give our Champions League predictions. So, who do you think is taking the Champions League this year?
It's a long shot, man. I don't know. I have no clue. Everything's out of whack. So I'm gonna say, just for the sake of it, I'm gonna say Real Madrid.
Man. George.
Long shot.
I'm going to say I want Juventus to win it.
So do I, and I'll tell you why.
But I'm going to say, you guys are going to laugh when I say this, but I'm going to say
Atlético Madrid. Atlético Madrid. Já sabe. Não, pá, essa questão benfiquista, meu.
Não tem nada de questão benfiquista. I think it has the style of playing now with all these teams.
Isto tem tudo a ver com o João Félix, sabe?
Não tem nada a ver. Eu acho que o João Félix agora vai assentar o banco agora, que nem vai jogar muito agora, para dizer a verdade.
Ele vai ser o MVP daquela merda toda, vai ganhar aquilo.
O gajo foi o MVP da Taça de Portugal, sabias, Steph? Ele e o Renato Sanches, both man of the match.
Bom, o tempo está a correr. Bruno, any final thoughts?
I think Champions League, I'm going to tell you why I want Juventus, because if Juventus wins, Porto becomes automatically seed number 1. But I don't think that Juventus is going to win. I think it's going to be, and I don't like to say it, but I think it's going to be
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich. But Bayern Munich hasn't played in a month.
I know, they stopped. They stopped in a month, yeah. That's a good point.
The team that actually might benefit from this is actually what George said is Juventus, because they're still in playing, but they have not looked good.
No, they've lost the last 2 games. Even though they play with the reserves against Roma 3-1 and away, but I don't know. Their defense is very shaky.
Yeah, I can see that in Champions League, you're gonna have to be a little. You gotta have some luck. PSG is only getting back to their form. Bayern Munich's been out for a month.
PSG, they struggled to lead the. I watched again the League Cup against Olympique de Lyon, and then they struggled to win against them. They went into PKs, and towards the end, on overtime, estavam rotos, meu. Não tem pedalada.
And Mbappé got a serious injury too.
Yeah, serious injury. Yeah.
So, Steph, just to kind of talk about that, how did Lyon look? Because Lyon is also in the Champions League.
The Lyon look good, but they got a couple injuries too.
Lyon plays this week against Juventus at Turin, and they have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, but the thing is, they got some key injuries because of that final cup, and the coach was kind of upset about that. Mas é a vida e continua.
Yeah, this year we got in these last teams, we got some big surprises. Atalanta, Leipzig, that's going to play against Athletic Madrid. You got Napoli. You got some
interesting games. Yeah,
I don't think Napoli has enough to go. Steph, real quick, Mulinga's chimed in. He wanted to get to your opinion on some things. Sporting just got a right back, Porro from Manchester City on loan, option to buy. We also got Antunes. So what do you think? Acuna's leaving? Question for Steph.
Okay.
Acuna's been gone.
I didn't really want to talk about Sporting because there's nothing to do with Sporting in the podcast, but I'll answer this question, of course. So Acuna is leaving. So you have Braga that sells Paulinho, jogador que nem é internacional português nem nada, por 30 milhões. And we're going to sell Acuna internacional argentino por 15 milhões. What am I saying with this? Antonio Salvador is on a different level than Varandas, and he knows how to sell. And Varandas doesn't know what the fuck he's doing with Duke Viana. So most likely we'll sell Acuna for 10 million, and we'll be stuck with Varandas and Duke Viana. And it sucks because I wish that we'd go to elections. Porro, it's not a signed deal yet. I'll believe it when I see it on paper, when I see him with the Sporting jersey, taking the picture. So I'm not going to talk about that because that's a media fantasia. It's not a real deal yet. And o Antunes veio de uma lesão muito grande, jogou pouco tempo, really bad signing for Sporting. But yeah, and he's old. But se for lá para bater palmas e dar discurso no balneário e não sei mais quê, então, olha, o que é que tu queres? I would go for half of it. Eu também ia lá bater palmas e dar discurso do caralho.
Esse vai ser o assistente do central que vem de lá do Betis também com 34.
Não, uma pessoa tem que ser esperta. O Antunes, porquê que ele vai para o Sporting? Porque assim...
Reforma.
Não, é para a clínica do Varandas. Assim dá mais uns euros para a clínica dele. Ele tem que arranjar... não faz mal, vais à minha clínica e eu arranjo o joelho. É mais uma escroto.
Isn't Fedal always injury prone?
Yeah. So why the fuck is Sporting buying players all fucked up? Because o Frederico Varandas, como tem uma clínica privada, espeta a fatura ao Sporting. Porque aquilo é à parte. Toma lá. Eu arranjei-te o jogador, mas vais que pagar Sporting.
Speaking of that, I have something to talk to you about. We talked earlier today. I don't know if we had a chance to talk about this, but it was brought up by one of our listeners. And did you I know you didn't hear Orelhas today speaking, but he did mention something that very interesting that a lot of people are not talking about it, maybe because on purpose. But he said that the deal with Jorge Jesus was done in February of 2018. The last time I checked, February 2018, wasn't Jorge Jesus still the coach of Sporting?
But I know where you're going with this, Bruno, but to me it's irrelevant. I'm not interested in talking about that at all. I was more interested in keeping the podcast within an hour, and it's an hour and 7 minutes.
Okay. Mulinga said that Juventus wins and Manchester wins the Europa League. I don't even know where the Europa League is being played, to be honest.
Yeah,
anyone know?
Who wins the Europa League?
I don't.
Manchester United.
Manchester United. Oh, yeah.
That's a possibility. They won 5-0 against Lipstick or caralho. So já passaram essa fase.
Pronto.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay, so guys, enjoy your vacations. We'll see you guys in a week from the Portuguese League, or before. We'll have maybe some special podcast. We'll coordinate it, the three of us, and we'll let you guys know. Viva o Sporting Clube Portugal.
Tchau, Laura. Viva o campeão da dobradinha.